Space, the final frontier. This is a review show for Star Trek The Next Generation. Its continuing mission to explore interesting plot points, to seek out goofs and continuity errors, to boldly go where no other TNG review show has gone before. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's the TNG Review Show. Hey. Good evening, everyone. It is us. We're back again for another TNG Review Show, putting Star Trek The Next Generation in our vault. And tonight I'm joined by my usual co-hosts, Mazza Bob, Tavikins Turner, live from Canada, and Chief Sean. Good evening, everyone. In a minute I'll say hello to everyone in live chat, but unfortunately we don't have Ruth with us this evening. So no
you
Ruth.
Say we're ruthless.
We're ruthless. Yes. Yes. We're off. Yeah. So.
Tabby, right typing chief dad joke into the chat there.
got one on the board already, Sean. Well done. It's pretty impressive. Go on.
I got some behind the scenes chat saying that there wasn't enough bingos last week, so I have to work harder.
You gotta do your job.
See, part of how you're working harder. You're gonna have a bit of a striptease. You can keep your hat on.
Oh, I get that now. What you've done, I'm with it. I was wondering what you were doing backstage, but now I'm with it. I've caught up. I'm on board. Mazza Bob, how are you this week?
I am good. I'm having a busy week. As I think I've mentioned, my work is a little bit more hectic now. So I did like a 14-hour day yesterday, which is a bit crazy.
14?
But not today. Got more important things to be doing this evening.
Yes.
And I have my sort of blood wine. It's white Zinfandel, which I always find is named funny because it's not white wine. It's pink.
It's pink. It's not white. Sad times. I don't have any wine, and I don't have any squash or anything, so I'm purely on the water.
You should pop out here habitually on like a Tuesday and raid my wine cellar.
So yes, I have the water tonight. So not so good, not so good. Good evening, Tavikins. How you doing, Tavi?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to get my bingo up. I can't find my link or anything.
So you're stressing with the admin of bingo at the moment, but I see you've got company there, so you're not alone.
No, I guess I don't need to yell.
You can if you
I was going to
want.
say, there's somebody with a P.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Franco!
Hey!
Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a party going on, I think, on Tavikin's corner of the screen this evening.
Routine!
There's Panko just morphing into existence in Data's head there very briefly. Hey, hello.
Hi.
Hiya.
Hi!
That is a big Data's
Hi,
head,
Ghost.
isn't it? It's a big head.
Yeah. I was getting all over that data.
Hello. Right.
She's sitting on his face.
Hey. It's a
Come
dream come true. Chief Sean, how are you doing this evening, sir? How's your week been?
Evening. Yeah, a bit busy. We're in holiday season, and yeah, you know how that goes. So it's just scramble to try and cover your bases more so than usual. Such is the fun of it, and through August. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. And you've got your lower decks uniform on this evening. Lower decksing it.
Yeah, for a small bit.
For a bit.
Yeah, okay. But Tavi will catch up eventually.
And good evening to everyone in live chat. Good evening to Supreme Panko. Mr. Tavikins is in live chat with a big pink wave. So hello, Mr. Tavikins. Hello, Beard. Stu Plum and Wookie. Do you want to give us a hello to Wookie, Sean? Yep. Very good.
Wookie says he's using speech-to-text technology today for the first time. Let's see how this goes.
Oh.
So if we get
Fair
some funny things coming into chat, it's probably misunderstood what he's saying.
Speech-to-text technology. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, let's...
Did you see in tech news, Apple the other day have finally said, okay, we understand you're not actually trying to say ducking, and have finally agreed to change the way the dictionary works. After, 20 years? They've eventually went, okay, we get it. You're not saying ducking.
Well, that's progress, I guess. Progress. I guess it's progress.
A little bit.
Okay. My week's going okay too. I have to say it's been reasonably quiet, but I've got Friday off, so it's my last day of the week tomorrow. So that's nice. Our friend LJ is out of the hospital. He's had his operation and he's recovering. So we're all.
Is he actually home? Is he?
He's well, he's not home, is he? He's not. I don't think he's home yet. No, but he's had his operation and he's in recovery. He'll be hopefully home tomorrow with a bit of luck.
Oh wow, amazing!
If it goes
Hey,
well.
he's been there a while, yeah.
Yes, so there we go. We are talking this evening about Man of the People, which is the third episode of Season 6, production number 40276-229, and it first aired on the 5th of October, 1992. So,
And what was special about that day?
the 5th of October...
I'll tell you, it was LeVar Burton's wedding day.
Oh, was it? Oh, wow.
Apparently so.
It was 2 days before my 7th birthday. It was
A couple of days.
11 years before my nephew was born to the day.
It's a few days after my 17th birthday. Yeah. It was the 128th episode to be both produced and released with TNG. It was written by Frank Abe Marco. Yeah.
Him, yeah.
Yeah, Frank Abemarco, who was the supervising producer of TNG for the sixth series. He wrote this and Chain of Command Parts 1 and 2. And it was directed by Vinrich Kolb, who we've talked about a lot, and directed All Good Things and the first episode of Voyager and The Caretaker and that. Yeah. Anything on the production there, Mass? Yeah, I think you might have something.
Yeah. Also, Relics was initially intended to be filmed in this episode slot, but it was changed because of the availability of James Doohan. So, so they did a bit of a switcheroo, but they did actually have to rush this one a little bit. They had to get a lot of the writers together to sort of gangbang the script, as it were, and get it into shape.
They gangbanged the script.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is also the first Trek episode where Jonathan West became the director of photography, taking over from Marvin B. Rush, who moved on to Deep Space Nine. So it's not like a major thing, but there are a few sort of subtle stylistic. I don't know if you'll notice any subtle stylistic changes, but if you do, could have been because of that change of hands, but it didn't make a major difference apparently.
What was his role? Sorry.
The director of photography.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Subtle differences to the visual style.
Yeah. I think there were some. It's interesting. I can hear myself back a little bit. I don't know if I don't know where it's coming from.
Not my end.
Okay.
I think Tav, do you have Panko with you? Does she have a run on the phone or something?
Oh, they might be watching it in the background. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's not bothering me. Okay, so
I can't hear you doubling, so I'm feeling like it might be me. But...
Oh, let's see.
I'll turn you.
No, it's
look,
not
it's
you.
not that episode. We've covered that one before, but it is similar.
What? What?
He's getting mixed up with the episode Violations. Which is we only did 6 or 8 episodes ago. It wasn't that long ago.
No, it's similar though. It's a bit it's got those sort of shades. We'll get into it.
Well, yeah, I mean it certainly is a Dorian Gray type episode, but yeah. We'll see at the end whether we think that she was violated. Again.
Here we go. Again. Here's the I got the pictures up for you.
D-pick.
Okay, so we're open with a teaser where the Enterprise has been called to the aid of a transport ship which has been attacked near the Regag-Saronia border. Hostilities between the two factions on this planet have intensified recently, threatening an important Federation shipping route. The Enterprise approaches the Nope. Over here. Sorry, I just messed up all my tabs again. One day I'll get it right. Right, the Enterprise approaches the transport ship and the Regag warships all flee. We don't get... Oh, just want to say with that last shot, Riker's doing his Riker maneuver stance, lean. Mm-hmm. The Riker lean on Data's console. And we don't quite see it in this screen cap. They don't quite capture it. But right after Riker's finished doing the Riker lean, Picard does the Riker lean himself. Puts his foot up on Data's console and leans in. It's like Picard's like, I'm fed up of this Riker looking cool on my bridge all the time. I want to look like the casual one. So, Picard does it himself there. So... it's quite funny. Didn't quite get a screen grab of it though. So they communicate with the transport audio only because their comms have been damaged in the attack. Captain Talmadge tells them that they have a mediator on board that they're carrying to a peace conference between the Regags and the Saronians, and the captain wants to transport the mediator and his companion to the Enterprise, and Picard agrees and sends Troi down to greet them. I think, and you might mention this later, Maz, as Troi gets into the turbo lift, you can just about make out a bottom of a tripod. in the turbo lift.
Oh, so you can, yeah.
I think it's just it's a light. I think when she stands in there, they feel she was in darkness. I think they put a little light on a stand in there to make the inside of the turbo lift brighter. But yeah, you can just make out the.
You know, nowadays they could just have a whole
not
lot of
have that.
LEDs under that diffused lighting and just up and down them and
just
not bother with the stand at all.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, not so much back in the 90s.
Here's a picture of the shuttle that was attacked. That's carrying the mediators, and that was last used in the Hunted. First came from the Outrageous Okana, so a reuse of a shuttle there. And Troi meets the ambassador Vez Alcar and his elderly mother, who Alcar introduces as Sev Malar. The old woman immediately reacts with hostility and jealousy towards Troi, telling her that she offers him nothing. She won't have him pursuing him. She will stop her. And that's how the teaser finishes, as the transport chief leads the old lady out of the transporter room. Sean, you've done a quick change. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice you changed uniforms.
I'm out with the bingo. I don't own a blue, but I have ordered one. So so anyone who has cheap blue, sorry, you're not getting much change out of me. But yeah, I did do a quick change. Yeah. Right. So we'll go on to the questions. First one: what is the name of the ship the ambassador beamed from? A. Dara, B. Dorian, C. Dunica, D. Dundalk, or E. Dave?
Oh, do you notice I did not mention that, and I don't have it written. I don't have it written down in my notes either. But I can have a guess at that one.
Okay, yeah, I think you may have a chance. And the bonus question is: what is unusual about Data's rank in this teaser? And I did ask you not to mention. I don't know if you noticed or you didn't notice, but
yeah, I have the name written just differently, so
I didn't have it spelled like that, but I think I got it. I think I know what it is.
Oh right, yeah, I'm with it. I know I did. I think
is the Wookie asks is the old lady actress the same woman who plays the ghost librarian in Ghostbusters? Well, that's a question.
I
don't think so, but it does look like her, doesn't it?
I did look her up. She's only got about 20 acting credits or something, but I didn't notice her in
Susan
anything
French, yeah.
major.
She was with Nana Visitor in the Colbys. She was on Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell, who went on to Battlestar Galactica. They will get that one in. And Scott Bakula, of course, of Enterprise fame. Sorry, I should be calling these out. And anything else? Oh, she was in the Captain America film. Sorry, that's not the one with Jonathan Frakes.
The 1990s one.
Yeah, she was in the 1980 film Somewhere in Time with Christopher Plummer, who went on to be in Star Trek 6, and he was in he played the Four Lights. No, he didn't play the Four Lights.
He didn't.
Sorry, I'm getting mixed up.
The other guy did.
He was in. She was in a film with the Vern Miller story with Andrew Robinson and Armin Shimmerman, who played Garrick and Quark in Deep Space Nine, and she was in Fist of the North Star with Malcolm McDowell, who played Sauron and his Bashir's uncle in real life, and Clint Howard, who played Baylock. He played Grady in Deep Space Nine, and he played Muck in Enterprise, and he played unnamed Andorian in the Discovery. And he has the record for the most. Sorry, you're going to get me for rambling. For the most time between his first and most recent appearance, because it's like 50 years between his role as Baylock when he was 6 and when he appeared in Discovery like 3 years ago. Wow. Sorry, there, rambling done.
Okay, I won't need to give you a.
Shut up, Sean.
All right.
But apart from all that, she wasn't the ghost in Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
and she didn't get her stomach punched in Blazing Saddles,
No,
unfortunately.
but
Something we may have liked to have
enough time
seen,
for all the
but
answers.
no.
Yeah, it was the
That's
Dorian,
good.
which I didn't cop at all. Dave was just a Red Dwarf reference, or an Only Fools reference, whatever you like. Dundalk, an Irish town, Donegal and Dara, Irish names. I just threw them in because it started with D's. I'm assuming Dorian is a reference to Dorian Gray, so that's Wookie, you're probably onto something there. I didn't cop that at all. And Data's rank, yeah, they're in the wrong order. He goes from Hollow Pip to Solid Pip to Solid Pip, which is the wrong way around. So yeah, if you go back 2 or 3 screenshots, you should be able to see that. But
Yeah, I had it down as the Torian for some reason, but yeah, the Dorian.
Yeah.
So I guessed that must have been what I'd written wrong.
What a shout, though, it being a reference to Dorian Gray. That's
Yeah. In a roundabout way, that was well spotted.
yeah. So who have we got then? We got Stuplum.
Yep. Monty
Maz.
Ban,
I didn't get it right.
Mazza.
It's not me.
Tavi. Oh, you said missing a pip. Oh,
yeah,
right.
but not the wrong order.
Yeah.
Ah.
Tavi, did Tavi get it?
Stu said pip missing. Tavi said wrong position.
Oh, so
And
I
just
think it's just me and Tavikins.
Didn't you agree
Oh,
to
and
put
also
Ruth as a
Ruth.
wild card?
yeah, no, I'm putting Ruth as well. So
Ruth's getting a wild card because she can't.
Oh,
make it.
Ruth's got a good shot at getting points on this one then.
Ruth's getting points no matter what because she can't make it. So yeah, here we
She
go.
said she may try and tune in just quickly and answer like a question to get on the scoreboard as well.
So don't worry, we got you. We got you.
She has active bingo cards too.
Yeah.
If you want to answer any questions, Wookie, we can give your points to Ruth if you like.
That's a fair deal.
Yeah, fair deal. Tavi, well done. Congratulations. You got the extra points.
Well done. And everybody else answered B, which was correct. So that's good. Bees all round. Covered in bees.
Covered in bees. He's covered in bees. Okay, Act 1. Make sure I'm in the right place. Ash got deleted off of it. Oh no! Well, you got to answer the question, Ash. You can answer. You got to get the answer. You got to get the answers right. Right. Act 1. Alcar meets with Picard in his ready room with Admiral Simmons on Subspace Link and tells Picard he wants to be moved to another transport because he thinks the optics of turning up at a peace conference with the armed flagship of the Starfleet would cause bad feelings. I think it's a bit weird. I've just got a few shots here that I just want to go through. So the desktop PC thing here is like pointing out into the room. But then when he's talking to the Admiral, we get this shot of the Admiral on the thing, and you can clearly see that it's the corner of the desk and the sofa in the background. So it's pointing more towards Picard in this shot. And then Picard sits down and repositions it. He swings it around so it's facing towards him. Like really kind of what we would have seen in that first shot, really. Now the laptop's in that position. But then when we go back to back to the screen, we get this shot. Which I don't know what that is in the background, but this is a reuse of a season 1 version of this screen, and when you look at it compared to the last shot, the actual thing looks completely different.
Device, yeah.
The actual device.
I think I could be wrong on this, but I think it was a real like kiddie laptop. You know, one of those VTech ones you could get that they bought and took all the innards out of. I might be wrong on that, but I think that's what they started with on those things.
Yeah, they got a load of them around, but they got a pink one, a cream one, and a black one. But yeah, they upgraded it as time went on, but for some reason they then reused this shot. Now, this looks to me like it's sat on the, possibly on the desk in the observation lounge, because you can see a pad of little white buttons in the background, which is... The only table I know curves and has a pad of buttons like that in it is the observation lounge table. But anyway, just an observation.
I was just going to briefly say that there's a kind of a curse when you use a real world thing to make a prop out of it. Like when they made the first Star Wars film, they were going around antique shops and they found an old, do you know, like the little bulb lamps they used to hold for the flash, and there was kind of a silver titanium thing to hold the bulb, and that's what they made the hilts of the lightsabers out of, and they were literally practically throwing them away. You could buy them for nothing, and they picked up a couple of dozen and they made the film. And then when they made the second one, they obviously couldn't find any because everyone who'd seen the film had just bought them up, and they became scarce as hen's teeth. They just they didn't exist anymore for the purposes, so they had to start manufacturing them from scratch. So it's a bit of a pain with props.
Tabikins asks, are there any non-human admirals in Starfleet? You know, there's a Starfleet is.
I think I've seen like a Vulcan one once.
It does
Commodore
seem to be a Homo sapien only club. Vulcans excluded.
We see Commodore O, who turns out to be Romulan.
That's true.
Commodore is basically a rear admiral, so yeah, that worked out well.
Also, his uniform. This is the season 1 to 5 admiral uniform. Where last week we saw can't remember her name. Admiral Hayes with the more modern season 6 admiral's uniform, but obviously they didn't produce the new uniform in his size, so they had to revert to the older version.
Yeah, I don't think we ever see 2 admirals, with the exception we get to the this uniform, the grey, the first contact one. We don't ever see 2 admirals in the same uniform. They're always constantly changing.
It's true.
When it gets to the grey ones, they just wear the standard grey and they wear a belt with it, and it has a bit of gold on the lapels. Lapels is the word? Anyway, the cuffs. Sorry,
cuffs. Yeah.
Until that, it's just constantly in a state of flux.
Admiral Savar, he was Vulcan. Vulcan Admiral. I'm not sure what series that one's from. Okay, so the request is basically denied for safety reasons because they've been shot at already, the transport, and so it's safer to be escorting them on the Enterprise. So yes, they're going to go on the Enterprise, and that's that. So sometime later, Alcar joins Troi in one of Worf's Mokbara classes. After the class finishes, Troi and Alcar make small talk about Alcar being self-disciplined. They walk the corridors and discuss the up-and-coming negotiations. They enter a turbo lift, and Alcar thinks it would be easier if he was empathic, like the counselor. And Troi thought the Lumerians, of which he is one, were empathic, but Alcar tells her that they are only empathic with other Lumerians, not with other species. He asks her what her reading of him is, and she tells him she sees calmness, serenity, and tranquility. Her reading from him seems to embody the very qualities he hopes to draw out of others. He asks her if she's ever taken part in negotiations before, and she confirms that she has with Captain Picard. So he invites her to join his team, as he would be grateful to have use of her empathic insights. And she agrees as long as Captain Picard does not object. When they arrive in his quarters, his mother is aggressive towards Deanna again, asking if they have mated yet. And if they do, Troi will regret it for the rest of her life. And Troy's left looking rather shocked at this continued hostility from Algar's mother. Riker arrives at Troy's office to discuss crew evaluation reports. Where did that go? No, I've just clicked on the wrong thing. Here he is with his crew evaluation reports. Quite interesting when he walks in and shows her the crew evaluation report pad here. You can see that in the Blu-ray version that there's absolutely no writing on that whatsoever. It's just like a pad of little coloured blobs. Yeah.
Well, it could be... crew evaluations. I was thinking shift rotation. You could kind of put people in you know, if you're doing shifts, you're organized in shifts. You put them in little blocks like that.
Yeah.
But, evaluations not so much.
No, you need something there to tell you what you were pushing. Troi tells Riker about Alkar's mother and the fact that she sensed pure evil thoughts from the woman that scared her. Riker thinks she's probably senile. Ash thinks it looks like his iPad. Troi decides that after the crew reports, she's going to treat herself to 2 ice cream sundaes, which sounds about right, really. I'm sure Smiler Rainbow would do the same. But then they are interrupted by Worf, who tells them there's an emergency in Alkar's quarters. When they arrive, they find Crusher prescribing 40 cc's of iniprovaline, but it's too late. The old bag is dead. Alkar is upset, and when Troi asks if there's anything she can do, he asks her to help him perform the Lumerian funeral meditation, and Troi is happy to help. Later, during the funeral meditation, Alcar gives her a stone. And they sit opposite each other and recite some ritual words. They touch stones, and the stones glow blue. Troi looks shocked, and Alcar smiles at her and says thank you. And here's a picture of the blue stones glowing.
I was just going to say on Ash's point about it looking like an iPad, the fact that it's called an iPad is not a coincidence. Steve Jobs just named it after the pad on Star Trek.
Smiler Rainbow pointed out that this is pyrite that's been sprayed black.
Right. Very good.
I was going to say, she likes her crystals. They can do all kinds of scary things. Be careful.
That's right. You don't got to watch what you're doing with pyrite.
She got her so many crystals for her birthday.
Yeah, there's a load of houses in the northwest of Ireland that a dodgy quarry was putting out pyrite bricks, and they're falling apart over here. So it's going to cost about $5 billion to fix it, because so many houses were built with these pyrite blocks that literally just crumble in your hands. So anytime we hear pyrite, I go, oh God, not again.
And here's a picture of Troi looking shocked after they turn blue. She's like, oh my God. And that's the end of Act 1.
Oh, grand stuff. So, where are we? Who is the con officer behind Worf in the Mukbara class is the first question. A. Ayala, B. Torres, C. Dern, D. Gates. And you can go back to the shot if you like. She's directly behind him. She's a black lady, about 5'8", 5'9", with a bit of a bob, straight hair. You've seen her loads of times, but I won't say which one she is. And
she's the the con officer, isn't she?
Yeah, that's her, just straight behind. She's usually a con, but it's just unusual to see her in this particular scene doing something else and not being a con. So that's why I mentioned it. And I went for multiple choice here. It was too hard otherwise. What drug does Crusher use on Alkar's mother? A. Retinax 5, B. Anestazine, C. Inoprovaline, D. Biomedic gel, E. Data's big dongazine. It's known to have life-sustaining properties.
Tavi asked if we can say good night to her babies.
Oh, good night. Sleep well. Sleep
round.
tight.
That's good night in
Good
Lebanon.
Karma.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Bless. Yeah. No, stay up and watch us. No, I shouldn't say that. Yeah. So, a few things while people are putting their answers in chat. I forgot to say in the teaser, or actually I didn't have a chance because, Sean wouldn't stop. That they had a red alert at the very beginning, and there's actually a different sort of red alert sound. I don't know if you noticed the difference, Montran.
It was slower.
Did they change the bulb?
Oh.
Yeah, there's a much bigger gap in between the noises. So I guess it probably doesn't interfere with the sound of the script as much as perhaps the one before did. So that was different. And the other stuff for Act 1 we already covered, like the uniform and stuff. So yeah, that's all I really have for that.
Sorry, I messed up. I put my answer in as the Vault, and then tried to put it in as me, but then missed the A off. But
Can I get a moment before you get the answers? I'm just now looking at it.
you get what I mean.
Yeah, that's fine. I forgot I put one of them in. I didn't put both of them in, so that was a bit silly. Also, I think on the bingo, we've also got a Sean Yellow from previously. I don't think that one's gone in there yet, has it? Unless I missed it.
Yeah, Sean Yellow. I got some Red Dwarf, some Enterprise, some Battlestar Galactica. There's a few things Savvy didn't make it
notice.
Where did Red Dwarf go to that?
Galactica.
Well, I just said that they changed the bulb. I mentioned Dean Stockwell was on Battlestar Galactica. I mentioned Scott Bakula was also on Quantum Leap was on Enterprise.
We went right. From Quantum Leap to Enterprise to Battlestar Galactica.
I said
a couple
I
of
called this
seconds.
the First Contact uniform. Does that count as the movies? Is there one for movies?
She's like, oh my god, that's so many.
Yeah. And we've got lots of different answers.
It might be a way to take a little time to unpick some of it. But I think everybody's answered now who's playing. So do you want to give us some answers?
Yeah, all right. So the first one was Gates was her name, Ensign Gates.
Ah.
Torres and Dern were other con persons, and Ayala was a crewman from Voyager. And the other one I put in some interesting answers. So maybe you can talk me through. Rednax 5. Do you know what that is?
That helps you with your eyesight. And
Kirk's allergic to it. That's why he needs glasses. Yeah. Star Trek 4, the one with the whales, and that's the scene. That's in Voyager where the Doctor transmits to the ship in the Alpha Quadrant, and they use that to knock out the Romulans. Inaprovaline is the right answer. Biomimetic gel, you know what that is?
Isn't that the gel they had to use to decontaminate an Enterprise?
No, that's something else. But the biomimetic gel is what Cisco trades away for the data rod and in the pale moonlight. And Dongasine is the cure for all ills, as we all know.
I put B. I meant C. I don't know why. I mean, I've got inaprovaline written in front of me here in my script.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why. I got the wrong letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Never mind. I'll tell you.
You're the final arbiter.
B and C, so I guessed.
So who got the right answer then
for the wheel? I think it's
Tavi and Stu.
Tavi and Stu Plum, yeah. And Ruth.
And the root bonus.
Ooh, oh. Stu Plum.
Well done, Stu Plum.
Well done, Stu Plum. Good job. Good job, sir. Okay, Act 2. Onwards and upwards. In her quarters, Troy's looking uncomfortable with her appearance. She checks her schedule and has an appointment with Ensign Janeway. I wonder if it's any relation. But then cancels all her morning appointments. Just a note about the scenery as she walks around her room here. You can see her mirror in her bathroom area has been blacked out. Obviously, it was showing a reflection of the film crew, so they covered it in some sort of matte black material. In the morgue, Picard meets the doctor, who cannot find a cause of death. She has found abnormally high levels of neurotransmitter residue in her cerebral cortex, and she wants to do an autopsy, but Alcar won't allow it, citing it's against their people's customs. Picard refuses the doc's request due to the death not posing any threat to the Enterprise's crew. Meanwhile, Troi is trying to center herself with some more Mokbara, but then she begins to touch herself. So she goes to Alcar's quarters. She enters the quarters, looking, lounging seductively against the door surround.
I thought this was a weird scene because usually the door chirps and you have to allow someone in. You can't just show up.
She just showed up. Yeah.
I would I don't know if she did this, but I imagine as a counselor for purposes of suicidal situations and stuff, she can just override that.
Maybe so. Do you notice anything about this shot?
I can't say I do.
Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
You may as well.
You can see a reflection of the boom mic in the
so you can
in the screen. But yep. Also in this scene, his mirror's blacked out as well.
Yeah.
So
it's the same room. It's just
it's
I would imagine they can just take the mirror off the wall, and that's probably behind it. But it's
a different room, but it might be the same mirror set piece that they just move from set to set.
Very possibly,
because this is the inner junior quarters set rather than the outer slopey ceiling set, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but is it not just the one big room and there's a divider? So where Deanna's standing is kind of where the divider wall is, just in front of her, or where roughly the camera is. I think.
I don't know. I don't think so. She is rather unsuccessful in her attempts of seducing him, telling him he is attractive and she wants to get to know him further. She asks him if he finds her attractive, and he does, but Alcar tells her their relationship cannot be like that. Troi gets angry and storms out. She goes into a turbo lift with attractive young ensign, who she looks at like he's dinner. Riker then visits her quarters to finish the crew reports that they started earlier, and is initially amused by her appearance at the door. But as he enters her room, his face drops when he sees the young ensign sitting on her bed.
The ensign stands to attention, and he's not the only thing that's standing to attention.
I was about
to say, cold room.
You stole my joke. The ensign
sorry.
Standing to attention. I was gonna give it a. But yes.
What's messed up about this situation is I was curious about how the rank works, because you're not supposed to be fraternizing if you're a certain level officer versus a younger officer. So I was like, what is he doing in her room?
Yeah, well, she's outside of the normal chain of command, although she is the lieutenant commander. But she shouldn't. Yeah, she's 3 or 4 ranks ahead. But as I said, she's not in the chain of command. It's more of an honorific, really.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't even wear a uniform most of the time, so I guess they're a little bit loose in that particular case.
I guess so, but she's in the chain of command, because if something happens, she actually has rank and has to pilot the ship as a captain.
Yes and no. It's a bit inconsistent, and she does later on take the bridge officer's exam, but for the most part, for example, Geordie, who's below her in rank, would probably take command before her, because he's the 3rd or 4th officer, where she's not.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the 3rd officer. Geordie is.
Is he?
Definitely tucking it out.
Yeah, because Data's the 2nd officer, so I think Geordie would come after Data, or maybe it's Worf.
I think Worf would be next.
Yeah, but either way, both of them would be under the rank of Deanna, but they would be, they're still the 3rd officer, so they would take command first if they're available.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to follow the chat. I'm not quite sure what Wookiee's going on there. He wants something explained to him. They explain it as to a child, but I don't quite know.
Put, for F's sake, that was a typo. Stu Plum corrected him, said the new word is fluffing because of that.
Fluffing.
that series.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Fubar.
Fubar, yeah.
And so now Wookie says, "Oh, fluffing. I don't know that word. Is there any chance that someone knowledgeable like Monty could explain that word to me? Explain it to me as you would explain a child, please."
Oh, well, instead of saying fucking, you can say fluffing. It sounds better. When there are children around. Okay, right. So the ensign's standing.
And Panko says that guy must be tucking it into his waistband.
I imagine so. He's standing nice and erect. So yes, after standing to attention, he makes a quick escape, whilst Riker recomposes himself. Troi asks Riker if it bothers him, and Riker says it doesn't. There's no reason why it would bother Riker with his background and reputation. Troi tells him it isn't any of his business, and Riker says he knows that. He just wants to get on with the reports. But she won't drop it, though, and she says, "I can tell you're bothered by this." And Riker, thinking that maybe he pissed her off because he interrupted her happy time, apologizes for the inconvenience of the interruption and tells her when she's ready to finish the reports, let him know, and then he leaves. And that's the end of Act 2.
Oh, that'll do us. We get some questions in, so. According to the sign on her quarters door, what deck is Deanna's quarters on? A1, B4, C3, D9. And the bonus question, what is the name of the ensign Deanna has an appointment with?
Don't blush you.
Two. Yeah, I have very little in the way of this is Act 2, right? I have very little in the way of any trivia or goofs. And the only one that I have relates to one of the questions. So,
well, I wouldn't say it's a goof, but the sign on the quarters does actually say Deanna Troi. You can see it in HD, and they go to the trouble of giving her a deck in a specific location. So they went to the trouble of changing the sign, even though in the time there was never a way you would have seen it. So fair play to them for making the effort. But,
I mean,
not a boof so much as that.
High def, right?
Yeah, but well, I don't think they did. It looks like a proper sticker kind of thing. So, but it looks good, and they made the effort. So fair play. Not a goof, kind of the opposite of that. It's just nice attention to detail.
Ash says, "Is happy time like happy hour, but with extra benefits?" Yes. Yeah. Happy times like happy hour with more bouncing.
Although, generally speaking, you shouldn't really be paying for happy time.
No. I've got to answer the questions. Oh, what am I doing?
Nobody has yet. I take it everybody's frantically looking them up.
I actually skipped the picture of the door, so I could bring up a picture of the door in a minute.
Well, there's one deck it's definitely not.
Well,
I'm going to take a
I'm trying to choose because
punt.
A lot of the senior officers are on the same floor, but I don't know if what was set on her door is actually matching the canon. So it's like, oh shit, which one was it?
Oh, that's supposed to be Janeway, by the way, not Jane K. It's not Jane K.
I think we can accept your answer on that one. Okay, we all done on the answers? So we still have anybody?
Where was the? I'm going to find the. Oh, it's back further.
You're too far. Yeah, back further. Yeah, just one more back. You might see it in that shot you were on.
That one? I can't see it.
No, just the one where she's standing in the door. I think you can see the...
This one?
Oh, the turbolift actually doesn't match. I think the turbolift doesn't match up because the turbolift says a different deck than the door does.
No, I thought you could see a picture of the door, but you can't.
No, you can't.
You cannot see it. No, failed. Okay. We're just going to have to trust you.
I think we can call time on it there. Yeah, it is deck 9. It's a 9
Damn
on the board.
it! Oh, I can't get anything right this evening.
And yeah, Deanna, but the Turbolift said deck 7, I think, or something like that. But when she got to the door, it was deck 9. And the Ensign is, yes, Ensign Janeway, as you mentioned.
Right. Well, at least I got a bonus point.
You know, Janeway obviously has nothing to do with Captain Janeway because she'd have already been, you know, a captain or at least a commander by this point. Perhaps they're related, though. Who knows?
Maybe
well, the character wasn't originally called Janeway. They changed it from.
Oh, where did I put
I think it was Captain, because Genevieve Bujold was the original actress, and she's French Canadian, and they had a different name for her, and they changed it to Janeway because it sounded more Irish. It is an Irish name technically, but I've never met a single one. It's extremely uncommon.
Stuplan.
Montyban.
Maz, did you?
Tavi, me.
Where's Maz's answer? Where's Maz? Oh, Janeway. There, Maz, you are there. Yeah, there you were. Right, I think I've got everyone. Ready?
And Ruth, is Ruth on there?
Yeah, Ruth's on there.
Sorry, it's not Irish at all. It's from Cambridge.
It's Maz and McBob.
No.
Well done, Maz. Maz got the points. Okay, 3.
Ruth, the wheel is not being your friend.
No, it's not. No, but we got plenty of questions to go. So there's still hope. There's still hope. In the SD version, the planet that they're shown here was the same as the planet in Identity Crisis, but in the TNGR HD refresh, they've both been given different new independent digital planets, so they look different now. Anyway, so they've arrived at Regag Saronia, and the 2 members of Alkar's delegation have met them on the Enterprise to report on the situation in the capital. The delegation meets with Picard in the observation lounge as Jarth and Leva outline how the ceasefire was broken before it even went into effect, with neither side backing down now. Picard suggests a meeting at the city of Darthen because it's neutral to both sides, and Alkar accepts this suggestion and asks Picard to contact the leaders and help set the whole thing up.
Yeah, technically speaking, you can't breach a ceasefire until it takes effect. It's just not possible. Point of contention.
Yeah, fair enough. In a counselling session with Councillor Troi, Ensign Janeway is talking about how she's having problems with a superior officer, being overcritical with her work. Troy's like, maybe it's because you're a moany little bitch. And he is fed up with hearing you moaning on and on. I know I am. Troi tells her this is the Enterprise, so you have to put on your big boy pants and take hold of yourself, or be prepared to transfer out. Janeway, who's sitting there in absolute shock, shakily thanks Troi for her advice and then leaves.
I will just say, I know I mentioned this fact before, but that obviously ends up being Captain Janeway's couch in Voyager. So it's kind of funny seeing Ensign Janeway sitting on it.
Getting absolutely roasted by Troi.
Deanna.
I mean, it was mean, but it was quite comical at this end.
Yeah, she really laid into her like.
I could imagine as a therapist, sometimes you just want to say that.
I really hope they pulled her back and explained the situation, but that'll traumatize a lower ranking person very quickly if being told to shut the fuck up by a senior officer.
Yeah. I might have made it slightly worse than what the scene actually went.
Yeah.
Right. Beverly is working with Geordi in engineering. At least I think that's what she's doing. You tell me. Geordi finds the biofilter log for Alkar's mother, and the doc compares it to her scans that she took when she died and finds there's massive physiological deterioration in those 3 days in between. The doc once again laments that she cannot perform an autopsy.
she's looking tidy enough in that shot. I tell you, Picard was onto something.
I was going to say, what are you implying, Monty Ban, that she likes bending over the consoles like this?
I'm just saying, you know, there's a lot of men down in engineering, and she just likes to go down there and lean on the console like that for reasons.
She's presenting herself like a baboon.
I used to work at a call center, and I used to work in tech support, which is mostly men, and at the other side of the floor was customer support, which is mostly women. And there was one girl in particular who just liked to walk. You had to walk through 200 men to get to the toilets. So every time she'd do it, she'd take it nice and slow and make sure to swing her hips the whole way through and the whole way back, and she knew exactly what you were doing.
The call center went quiet.
Yeah, and you just see all, and she knew what she was doing. She knew she was attractive. Anyway, and you just see everyone just in unison, just sort of swinging on the chairs, like everyone's heads just rolling, and just the same on the way back. Just
it's like a crowd watching a tennis match in slow motion.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. She knew what she was at.
Yeah. In 10 forward, Riker delivers the news to Alcar that the warring sides have agreed to meet in the city of Darthan, which is good news. Just as Riker's about to leave, Troi enters looking like Lily Munster. And here she is. Or is it Cruella DeVille?
I like Data, but okay. The camera's angle is a bit misleading.
And as they walk by, like Riker looks at Data, and Data's like looking confused at Troy's change of appearance.
But he should have said,
Damn!
They've had the volumizer out again. He's not quite as big as he was before, but his hair is getting a bit Rob Schneidery.
Yeah. Troi confronts Lever with her ample nacelles. I mean, she confronts Lever with similar jealousy in the fashion of Maylor had done earlier in the episode. She has a good dig at Joth as well while she's at it, telling him that he's envious of Alcar's abilities and secretly wants him to fail, which Joth denies. Riker steps in and takes Troi away, citing a made-up incident on the bridge. He escorts her to her quarters, and she tries to seduce her Imazadi. And it kind of works, with them kissing. But then she scratches him across the side of his neck and face with her nails, leading Riker to back out of her room, questioning, what is this? And that's the end of Act 3. Yeah.
And then she goes off to listen to Mr. Brightside for herself for a few hours.
Yeah.
Where are we? What neutral city? Sorry. That is the end, actually. Yeah, sorry. What neutral city does Picard state the meeting could take place? A. Darthan. B. Dantooine. C. Darmok. D. Starbug. D. Data's Down Pleasure Palace. And the bonus question. Oh crap! I'm after duplicating the question. Sorry. Ignore the second question. I'm gonna have to throw in a bonus. I'm gonna have to make up a question on the fly.
No worries. So
I think I've got one right finally.
I didn't actually get a good shot of it. I don't know if you have a picture, Monty Bam, but at the beginning of the show we said about how Data's pips were not in the right order.
Yeah, there's a shot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but what about Geordie's pips then? Because I've got a goof saying that when him and Bev are in main engineering, his lieutenant commander pips are 2 outline ones and 1 solid, whereas it should be 2 solid ones and 1 outline. But I wasn't able to see that myself on my little tiny screen.
Yeah, I can't quite. No, you can't make it out in the shot, certainly.
Yeah.
Sorry. The bonus question is what is the Cardassian name for? What is the Cardassian name for Deep Space Nine? Yeah, and the wrong way around again.
Yeah, they're in backwards. And in the last episode, Reg Barkley had his pips backwards. Somebody in the costume department keeps putting their pips backwards.
Yep,
like
someone's new and getting it wrong every time.
Hasn't watched Star Trek.
Yeah. Relatively easy thing to get right. And you think the actors themselves would know. You know, they've been wearing these things for 6 years. None of them notice.
No. I never see my pips under my beard. They're in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, the way this top, unless I physically hold it down like that, and you can see them, but like they just keeps riding up. So yeah, not happening.
Mine gets lost in my hair.
Was there another question? Did you manage to, or are we just?
Sorry. I came up with one on the fly. What's the Cardassian name for Deep Space Nine?
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, and yes, I realize it's nothing to do with this question, but I accidentally made.
I don't know how to spell it.
Yeah, if you're in the rough area, that's fine.
Oh no, it's trying to. It's something like that. It tried to auto-correct. Oh look, Maz actually spelled it exactly the same way I spelled it. My guess.
I mean, you're both wrong, but close enough.
Wait, did you put the bonus in?
Yeah. What's the Cardassian name for Deep Space Nine? So
okay, I don't know that.
Won't help if people haven't seen Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Emergency question. I just threw in.
It was a quick change of.
Yeah, literally the first thing I could think of.
On the bingo, that's a Cardassian reference, so that's useful.
Oh, is it? Okay, nice.
A Cardi.
Is there a Klingon reference? Because Worf is a Klingon.
Okay.
Well, he is a Klingon, but I mean, you haven't sort of really mentioned Klingons specifically or their culture. Or...
Oh, I just did there.
Hey, you could mention the Tai Chi, the Klingon Tai Chi that Worf was teaching.
Bacanor or whatever it's called.
Mokbara.
You guys stop trying to throw the bingo.
I don't know if there is a Klingon one. Is there? I don't have it on my list, so don't worry about saying it.
Yeah, it's the Klingon Tai Chi.
Not like I'm selfish.
Who got Tarok Nor then? Maz, myself.
Maz, Stuflin said
G-Star.
No, we got G-Star and Montyman. So Maz, G-Star, Montyman.
Okay, I could have made it easier and did it the other way around and said Tarok Nora is better known by what name, but I didn't. So too late.
Yeah. Right, I am spinning that wheel.
Do you remember what the sister station is called?
Yes.
Empok Nor.
There you go.
G-Star. I don't know. I've been here all the time. I've not got one win on this wheel. G-Star turns up for 5 minutes and look, he gets a win straight away.
Yeah, Ruth's been on 4 spins. There are 5 spins and still hasn't happened.
No, she's not been very lucky with that.
No, not lucky at all. Anyway, good evening, G-Star. I hope you are not as tired as you were earlier in the week. I hope you've recovered slightly. And I hope everything's going well with LJ.
Yeah, I hope you're not like a bicycle. Too tired.
Too tired, yeah. Okay, so on to Act 4. Troi stands in the darkness in her quarters when Alcar visits. She turns around and, to be honest, she's looked better. Alcar tells her that he is leaving for the surface and he's not taking her as they had originally planned. She's not happy as Leva is going with him. She begs to be taken, following him out of her quarters, screaming, but he refuses. And here's a picture of her screaming her head off in her quarters. In sick bay.
The way and walks in and screams in the camera, it's a very odd shot.
Yeah, she really gives it some. She commits to that scream. I give her that.
But if you were screaming at someone in the hallway, you wouldn't just turn around.
We're looking like that.
Yeah. In sick bay, the doc's removing Riker's scratches, and Riker can't believe what happened. The Troi he saw, he did not recognize at all. Interesting to note, this is one of many times this season we will be seeing Riker having scratches removed. It became a bit of a meme in this season that Riker is always getting beaten up. And
although the previous shot with the scratches, I couldn't see how a human hand could possibly make those marks. They weren't kind of in line with each other. A bit odd.
Yeah, actually, it led to the. Here's one for Wookiee. Wookiee will like this. So that led to the Riker figure in the Playmates collection being covered in scratches.
Oh, nice.
So, so when you got all the other figures, they all looked fine. But when you got the Riker figure, he's covered in scratches.
I think there's a Thomas Riker figure that came out as well, and it even has the season 1 uniform. You could get it.
Yeah.
I didn't have it.
Yeah. Just reading, it needs a Monty de Boom on the drums. Oh, Ash.
That was Ash's joke.
Why was Captain Picard
so confused when the android disappeared because they'd lost their data? Some little happy smiley faces.
There you go. Very good. Very good.
Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier, but B4, which obviously was one of the answers, but alongside C3 for C3PO, obviously B4 was one of the brothers of Data, but originally the character was called B9.
Yes. And that reminds me, just seeing the smiley faces and hearts.
I thought one of the other prototypes was B9, and like one of the separate ones.
No, there was a Lost in Space character, or Robbie the Robot or something, called B9, and anyway, they couldn't use the same name again, so they went change it from B9 to B4.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And don't forget, just seeing those hearts and smiley faces in chat just reminded me, if you're watching this at the moment and you want to support us, please feel free to tap that like button. Subscribe and hit the notification bell and all those great things.
Yeah, yes. Just a mere 13 off 500.
Yes, we're so close. We're so close. 500 is a massive milestone. So yeah, if anybody's got any friends they want to recommend us to, or any family members, or you can set your auntie and uncle up on YouTube and get them interested in new technology and new things. It could be a whole new world. Just make sure you subscribe them to our channel first. Be great. They'll love you for it. They'll love you for it. Anyway, in sickbay, the doc is removing Riker's scratch. Oh, I've just read that, didn't I? During this scene, just as of note, we see that for the first time since season 1, her blinds are open behind her desk. And we can see a corridor. That's the first time we've seen that. In season 1, when the blinds were open, they put a star field behind there as though it was a window. But here we see a corridor. Do you know why? Do anyone know why? I'll tell you. Because this set was used in Star Trek 6 when they were analyzing. They needed a science lab on the Enterprise A, so they reused Crusher's office as a science lab, and they had the blinds open and the corridor behind the blinds, and you saw people walking past the corridor. But what that is exactly, it's the corridor extension for some of the long corridor shots. So this...
I was just going to say it was looking a bit silver, that it looked like Star Trek 6, but I didn't get to it in time. But fair point.
So, like this shot from Encounter at Farpoint, the actual set goes out to that cream bit there.
Yeah,
and then this bit here is
the walls change from cream to grey.
Yeah, the wall. I mean, that's like a painting. It's like a fake. It's a fake corridor.
It's very silver. It's obviously left over from Star Trek 6. Although I'm saying that's Encounter at Farpoint, and it still looks silver there. So I guess they haven't changed the scheme yet.
I'll tell you, it's because it first cropped up in Star Trek 1, the motion picture. And it was used in Wrath of Khan. It was used in Star Trek 6. It was used in Encounter at Farpoint and a number of TNG episodes. This scene, they've been used a lot.
Yeah,
and it was parked outside our window. Anyway.
I was going to say, it disappears, that corridor, because when they expanded engineering for Voyager, it took up that space, so you couldn't have it anymore.
And they moved they moved the painting to a behind the window there. So it looks like there's a corridor out there. But it's just the end of the corridor extension.
Nice.
So there we go. For those that are interested in that kind of thing. Right, we're in the transporter room and Picard's wishing the delegation good luck when Troi enters, demanding to go with them and saying she warned them she would not let her have him. And she pulls out a knife and tries to attack them with it. Picard stops her and wrestles her to the floor, but in the process gets stabbed in the shoulder. Security, Riker, and the doctor then arrive at the transporter room pretty much straight away, which is lucky, and cart Deanna off to sickbay. Olka questions whether they should now beam down, but Picard tells him that they need to continue with their mission. In sickbay, Nurse Ogawa notes that Troi has elevated neurotransmitter levels similar to those seen in Maylor's body. Now that they appear to be a threat to the Enterprise crew, Crusher requests Picard permission to perform an autopsy on Maylor. Picard attempts to contact Alcar on the planet to check his permission, but he's unavailable because he's in negotiations, so Picard grants Crusher permission to proceed. She performs the autopsy and now she's confused even more. But why? Why is she confused? We now go to the ready room and we have this opening shot which really zooms in close to the Stargazer on the side. And I happen to notice, I don't know if this is a thing, but one of the nacelles, the end's broke. It's supposed to have like...
You broke your little ships.
Yeah, it's supposed to have a little like piece inserted in there with a knobbly bit on the end. I know I've got this exact kit, which is a part of the Enterprise A model. That's supposed to slide in there, and it's the end piece of the nacelle, and it's at some point it's fallen out.
Yeah, it's a kit bash of, well, presumably 2 Enterprise A sets, so they had double nacelles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have really spray colored it, silver. It looks like awful yellowing plastic.
Yeah. I didn't actually realize it had other colors on it. I thought it was just a purely yellow, like supposed to be like a metal thing, but it's not. It has got other colors on it.
No, because I remember like the old SNESs around that time used to turn yellow. It was just the plastic manufacturing at that, back in the 90s was such that plastic just turned yellow after a while if the mix was bad. So I'm guessing that's all it was.
No, I think it was like this from brand new. It was just...
was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I guess they expected you to paint it. Fair enough.
Yeah, they just painted it that colour. So anyway, in the ready room, Beverly tells Picard that despite Maylor's appearance of great age, her organs of her body, heart, lungs and skeletal structure of those of a 30-year-old. That's a bit of a shocker. They also did DNA comparison. Maylor and Alcar show that they were not in fact related. She's not his mother. Picard agrees to go get answers from Alcar and urgently summons Worf to the transporter room. On the planet, Alcar admits that the lady is not his mother, and Picard tells him that she wasn't 93 either. And Alcar accuses Picard of doing an autopsy against his wishes. But Picard fires back that now whatever's killing Councillor Troi poses a threat to the ship, he had the right to do so. I don't know if you have anything about this set down here. I guess it's a reuse of the standard set. I don't know.
I don't. I know they use it again when they meet Hutch at reception, I think, but I don't know about it used previously. Yeah, they did spend a little... I mean, it's not that complicated. Made a bit of effort putting it together.
Yeah. G-Star said that the ship, the Stargazer prop, sold at auction for $1 million.
Blimey.
You're joking. That sold for $1 million.
Troy's evening dress thing that she slinked into 10 forward with also sold in the It's a Wrap sale, but I don't know how much for.
No, I tried to look that up and I couldn't find out.
Well, there's a crowd called the Prop Store, and they still sell things from Star Trek. But I suppose you can be lucky. Someone mightn't bid on something. But I did see one thing they sold. There used to be a Star Trek The Experience in Las Vegas, and there was a Voyager that was the size of a double-decker bus, basically.
Wow.
And someone bought it for about $30,000 or $40,000 and has it in their home on a roof. I mean, it came in 2 shipping containers. Like they had to take the cells off and put it in a second container and put it back together. It's immense. Something I'd love to have, but where do you keep it is the thing.
Well, yeah. Okay, so Leva appears, enters, and tells them that the talks are breaking down, and Alcar is needed. So, you probably want to see a picture of that. Here she is. Alcar, you're needed. Alcar seems unconcerned and explains to Picard that now, at this point where expectations are lowest, is the point in which his influence can do the most good. He tells Picard that long ago he learned he could channel his negative emotions and darker thoughts into others, leaving him unencumbered. He expected Malar to last the negotiation. Her death was unfortunate timing. Troi, being an empath, he was sure his technique would work on her, but was shocked at how fast she had aged. Usually, his receptacles last for years. Picard is disgusted at all this news and tells Alcar that he can't possibly expect to explain away an abhorrent act just because of some mightier purpose. But Alcar gives it a go with the whole needs of the many argument.
The many, yeah.
Picard asks him if he thinks his deeds are heroic, because in fact they are not. He is a coward, sacrificing others just because he doesn't want the burden of unwanted emotions himself. Well, boo-hoo! Picard wants to arrest him, but Leva enters with her own security and disarms Worf. Jesus Christ, Worf, you got one job, man. They get sent back to the Enterprise whilst the peace talks resume. And that's the end of Act 4.
Nice their outfits.
They were reused somewhere as well, but I was going to say the pistols. I think they're the Veron T disruptors that there's only 9 of in the universe, and you see 2 of them in the same shot. Sorry, the questions. Who was Alcar taking to the surface instead of Deanna? A. Leva, B. Nala, C. Levita, D. Lucala. And what word does Alcar use to refer to his female victims? What word? They are my wash.
It's kind of nasty. I don't know why, but I don't like it.
Sounds like he's saying a toilet.
I know, exactly, yeah. So I forgot to say on the last act, there was a little teeny weeny goof where they came out of 10 forward when Riker was escorting Troi. They got in the turbo lift, and the turbo lift said it was deck 8. Obviously, they should have been on deck 10 because it's 10 forward. We talked about the blinds. Did you mention the knife that Deanna used? Did you say something about that?
I didn't say anything about the knife, no.
So that was the one given to Picard by Captain Dathon in Darmok.
Oh, nice. Right, yeah.
Apparently. And there was a picture a couple ago where Picard goes down to the planet to talk to Alcar, and if you're not looking for it, you wouldn't even see it, but there was a little teeny bit of a little black boom mic at the top of the screen that just pops in as Picard comes down to the planet. It's really tiny, you can barely see it. And these security guard outfits, they are reused from the Talarians in Suddenly Human.
Yes. It's that boy that suddenly found he was human and not an alien. Yeah.
Talarian, yeah.
Yeah.
And as Wookie mentioned early on, this is basically Star Trek's answer to Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, in which Dorian Gray has a portrait in his attic that he, kind of vents or invests his emotions in, and it keeps him young. And in this case, Alcar does that with these ladies. I don't even know if they have to be ladies. Surely it could be blokes as well. He could create a psychic link with, but he seems to favour the ladies.
Well, I presume it's easier for him to make the connection with women than men. Possibly not.
Yeah, is that it? What was the picture you wanted to see a couple of pictures ago?
It was just you can't see it on the picture, but it was just where they were. It's the one where you said, "Is there anything about this set?" It was about 3 pictures ago.
Right around here.
Yeah, it was around about here. It just sort of at the top middle of the screen, you just see this little black thing which disappears very quickly.
Right.
Let's see. A little boom mic at the very top.
Yeah, I mean, it's more impressive in most sets, but you can still make that out of plywood. If you get a nice big sheet, you just cut the curve into it and then wrap it over it thinner. It's not that difficult. Looks nice though. It's nice they made an effort.
Yeah. Oh, good evening, Mickey. Thanks for coming in, popping in by and joining us. Hope you're well.
Mickey. Hello, Mickey.
Should we have some answers to the last question?
Yeah, we can have some answers. Yeah, the first one was Leva. Basically all the answers together basically says "Live La Vida Loca." I just was messing around. And Alcar refers to them as receptacles.
I didn't even know.
Nobody copped it, but I was having a bit of fun with that. I was like, the first one was Leva, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go off on that one.
Right, who got receptacles then?
Mazza, Tavi, G-Star, Stuplum, Montyban, and Ruth.
Right. Full house on this one. Let's spin that wheel.
No. Monty there.
Monty!
Yay! I won.
Yeah,
sorry, Ruth.
Sounds not pleasant at all.
It does not. It's not a pleasant way of describing someone, is it? Really, especially when you're killing them and dumping all your unwanted emotions in their brain box. Not very nice. Not a very nice person. Picard had this look of complete and utter disgust and just looked like he wanted to punch him right in the face. But he didn't. Anyway, they got beamed back to the Enterprise. On the Enterprise, this is Act 5, Picard asks Worf what he employs him for anyway. No, he doesn't. But they find they can't beam up Alcara's team because they've raised some kind of force field, so Picard heads off to sickbay. Picard tells the Doc what he'd learned from Alcar, and Beverly decides that Deanna has to die. She's got to die. So that Alcar is forced to break the link. Picard surmises he will look for his next victim from in his own group. Whilst they're talking about this, Riker's looking between the Doctor and between Picard, and he's like, "Hold on a minute, you're talking about killing Deanna." And but the Doc assures him that they'll be able to resuscitate her within 30 minutes. So they agree to proceed. On the planet, they are congratulating themselves on a job well done when Alcar comes over all funny. Then they contacted by Picard, who tells them that Councillor Troi is dying, and he's transporting them up now, whether they like it or not, assuming that Geordie's got away past the force field thing. In sickbay, the delegation enter just as Beverly records the time of death, and Alcar turns to leave her and asks her to go wait in his quarters. Rather ominous. Alcar tries to justify himself to the crew, but they don't look like they are going to let him off this ship alive. Even Nurse Ogawa looks pissed. Sensing this, Alcar tells them he expects them all to honour Starfleet's assurance of a safe passage. Once he leaves sickbay, Picard makes sure the transporter room has locked onto Lever and stations Worf and his security team outside Alcar's quarters. In Alcar's quarters, he tells Lever how important Troi was to his work and how he is lost now without her. Lever is like, well, if there's anything I can do, and Alcar's like, as a matter of fact, there is. If you'd like to meditate with me and hold my rock. And Lever's like, sure, I can do that. So he starts the chanting, and Beverly is panicking in sickbay and decides that she can't wait any longer, and she uses the cortical simulator to bring Deanna back. She comes back to life, and her life signs all start to return to normal. Back in the meditation, something goes wrong with the ceremony, and Alcar feels a pain and panics. He tries to get hold of Leva, but she's freaking out because she's trying to be grabbed by a rapidly aging man. Here's a picture of that. Oh, there he is. And just before he can grab her, Picard has her beamed out of there. Security then enters the room, and Worf watches Alcar age out. And here's some pictures of Alcar kind of growing old.
Kind of looks like Dr. Sloan.
He does, yeah. Maybe a reuse of some of the makeup. Oh, where's it gone?
Possible, yeah.
I've lost it. I know where it's gone. Oh well, I'll this one.
If you do Control Shift T, it'll undo it. Oh, never mind, you found it. Sorry. Yeah, it's very possible. Like, could have been molded on Brent, and they just glued it on really haphazardly because it was only for one shot.
Here's the other one.
The hair.
So yeah, and then Worf just watches basically, and then he's like, "Yep, he's dead."
He's dead, Dave.
He's dead. At the same time, Troi de-ages in sickbay until she's back to her normal radiant self. I don't know if it's just me, but you know, I think that
Tav, yes, that was Red Dwarf, yeah.
That the de-aging things looks good on her. Maybe like all that rubber or something was good for her skin or something. But she looks even better than normal. Anyway, she wakes up and she's happy to see Will standing by her side. Later, Riker fills her in about what happened and the fact that Leva escaped and she is fine. Deanna thinks that the past few days have been like watching a holodeck show, and she thanks Will for sticking by her. And he says he always will, even when she's old and grey. And that is the end of our episode.
Oh, she gets to hug her Willie.
They have a little kiss and cuddle, and yeah. Sadly, she's about to go off with Worf, so it kind of ruins the mood a little bit. But,
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
All right, well, I'll just throw the questions in before we talk about it. So, what drug does Beverly take and kill Deanna the gentlest way? A. Acinolaethan. B. Bicaridine. C. Chloroxine. D. Dilamadon.
Dilamadon.
And the bonus is when Deanna wakes up, who is grasping her hand?
Yeah, okay, I know. I think I know the answers to these. I might not do, but...
So regarding how to break this hold that he had on her, apparently it was originally up to the science advisor, Nareen Shankar,
right,
to suggest how she could be freed from the link. And he was coming up with ideas of the fact that their link was some kind of power transfer and maybe to do with that glowy blue light, and that they do something to sort of charge her up, and then it sort of pushes the power back to him, and he kind of overloads from it and all this kind of thing. But yeah, according to Shankar, the idea of killing her was suggested by Ronald D. Moore and Brannon Braga, and they thought that was a much better way to go. So it's a bit of a shame for Shankar that, you know, supposed to be the science advisor, came up with all these ideas, and it was thrown out the window. Never mind.
Sad times.
Yeah. So there's a bit of confusion of where things are coming and going as well. So Vez asks Leva to wait for her in his room, Then Picard tells Worf to wait outside her room, and then Picard orders Transporter Room 2 to maintain a lock. And then as Troi comes back alive and stuff, he says, Transporter Room 3, beam her out. So there's a bit of a his room, her room, Transporter Room 2, Transporter Room 3,
right, yeah.
all round.
Luckily, the people in the transporter room are just watching everything at all times and just know when they get ordered to do something exactly what's going on and who to do. Yeah, they just know it. They just know it.
As I said, on the Galaxy, I think there's something silly like 22 transporter rooms, and like 4 of them are manned at any given.
Oh,
it's just you're just sitting there for 8 hours with like nothing happening. Like you're in warp for 18 hours. You're warped the whole duration of your shift. You're not going to be beaming anyone anywhere. You're just, get me out of here. Not good.
I'm sorry, Ruth. We've been trying for you, my darling, but it's.
You want every wheel spin.
The wheel's not been happy.
Ruth, we still have the last 2 questions, so you have a. Oh, okay. You put in your answers.
Dee and Riker, okay. There you go. You've answered. So
no, you got them in, and
just in the nick of time.
I think we've had enough time. So yes, it was the Lamadon, and it was Riker. So you got both of those right. So you do get points on the board.
Lamadon. Do 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 do. Lamadon. Do 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 do. Lamadon. Do 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 do. Okay, so who got the Rikers then? Was it all the same crowd?
I said Willie, but I meant, Willie Riker.
I know,
yeah, that's acceptable.
So Mazza, Montyban, Tavi, G-Star, Stu Plum put Ricker, but I think that was Riker as well, and Ruth.
I think that. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I think that's everybody that's on there.
Everybody, yeah.
I'm gonna.
Wait, is Wookiee on there?
Wookiee's not on there now.
If everybody gets it right, Wookiee's the black hole.
Oh yeah, but we can't have.
I can't risk it because Ruth.
Can we make an exception? And if Wook wins, then Rick gets the points.
Okay, if Wookiee. If Wookiee,
give her double bubble.
Yeah. If Wookiee gets it, Ruth gets double points. There we go. Right. Spinning the wheel. Oh no. Not.
Ruth, tonight is not your night.
I wasn't looking. Who was it?
It was me.
Monty.
Well done, Monty.
Very greedy of you, Monty.
Sorry, Ruth. I'm really sorry. Anyway, there we go.
Ruth is asking, what is Tavi doing to Data? Anything she can get away with, I think, is the answer.
Pretty much.
Taking a trip to Data's Big Dong Pleasure Palace.
Yeah. There she is. Screen to herself. Look, there we go. I need to put some Barry White music on or something, Okay. Give Ruth double points anyway, Monty, says my Stu Plum. I would, Stu Plum, I would, but unfortunately... Oh, go on then. Fine.
A little 20 bonus.
Yeah, a little 20 bonus.
Makes no difference in the grand scheme of things, but got a few more points, Ruth.
Got a few more points. That's the important thing, isn't it? Got a few more points. Okay, so it's the end of the episode. Was there any last continuity, props, reception?
Not from that last scene, no. There's a little bit of reception stuff. I mean, if people want to start putting in their scores out of 10 and Tavikins, before we can do the points, you need to tell me what the bingo scores were so I can add those on. But yeah, in terms of reception, Marina Sirtis said she was trying to play this role as if there were parts of Troy's subconscious or psyche or elements that she normally controls or suppresses, but it was almost like, you know, her inhibitions were taken down, and those elements of her personality that she'd normally suppress just came out. And she also said that when she looked in the mirror and she saw her hair, it reminded her of Anne Bancroft. Who's that?
Who's that?
It's Anne Bancroft. American actress. Yeah, so she had quite an austere look. I mean, it's kind of like almost a 40s sort of, or I think she might have been this, sort of in their 50s and 60s. But I'm guessing she may have played some, you know, kind of slightly batty or severe female parts. But yeah, definitely from the older films. Yeah, and she said, you know, she wanted to play what she saw in the mirror, and she thought that the old person later on was more of a witch, so she tried to play it like a witch. So yeah, so I guess she had fun with it. Many members of the staff thought the episode suffered from rushed script, like Jerry Taylor was one of them. Brannon Braga had issues with the show, said he would have done it differently, would have made it darker and more a story about Troy's dark descent from the psychological point of view. Winrick Kolb remarked he was happy with it. There were some problems with the script, but what intrigued him was that he took the script that had problems and came out with a damn good show. Marina was terrific. He knew it was her show and she was well prepared for it. But they pushed her a little bit harder to be a vamp. And Michael Piller and Ron Moore said that Curtis's sexy but scary performance really lifted the episode from what was perhaps a bit of a poor script or a rushed script. So that was all the reception stuff.
Cool. You seem to have lost Tavykins.
She's got extra people there. She's went on, I think, mute because there was
there you go.
some chatter and hilarity in the background. But it's lovely to have them on screen. Hi guys. What are you drinking?
What's that? What are you drinking there, Ash? It's disappeared. It's green. It's green.
Caribou.
So Caribou. Nice.
Nice.
I am in Canada.
Hey. G-Star says
That's too high. That's way too high.
he thinks Sean needs some hand-mouth coordination training. Are you having problems getting things in your mouth there, Sean?
I've been accused of that in the past.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess
Andrew's in chat. He says, "How you doing, lads? I'm drunk in a pub. Lol." Excellent.
Oh, excellent.
Thanks for stopping in, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm glad you're having a nice time. So, yeah, thanks for stopping by. There's Anne Bancroft, if anybody was wondering what she looked like. There she is. So, yeah, start thinking about your scores. What would you score this episode out of 10? From 0 to 10, put your scores into live chat, and we will add them up and add them to the audience score at the end. So, yeah, what would you give this score, this episode? Have you got your paddles? Have you got your paddle, Tavi? Oh, she's got her paddle. She's taken her paddle to Canada, so she's
traveled with her paddle.
She's travelled with her paddle. Yeah. I got to think about what I'd give this episode, actually.
I'm just putting in the bingo score, so I'll have the scores for you momentarily.
Oh, that's good.
I have them now if you want them.
All right, should we do the scores? Should we do the quiz score first, then? Go on, then.
Okay. So, in joint first place, with 435 TNG points apiece, is myself and Tavi. So we get 10 points each on the scoreboard, because that's 19 divided by 2, rounded up.
And 22. Next.
Ready for the next one? So next is Stu Plum with 390 TNG points. So he gets 8 on the scoreboard.
8, 23. Okay, next.
Next is Monty with 350 TNG points. So you've got 7 on the scoreboard.
7, 22. Okay, yeah, next.
And next is G-Star, actually only 40 points behind you, despite the late start, because obviously the scores go up as the episode goes on. So G-Star gets 6 points on the scoreboard.
6 points. Good job.
And then finally we've got Ruth. That is everybody, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And then we've got Ruth with 140 TNG points, 5 on the scoreboard.
5. So no answers from Ash or Panko then?
No, despite being there, you missed out on your points on the scoreboard.
I don't know. I don't think there's much of an order change in the actual the thing, but I'm going to do it anyway, just to Blosh to that.
Well, we're all on 22 points now, you, me, and Ruth, so we're all in bronze position.
Yeah, so I suppose, I've got to change that to that, and that to that. Oh, I included G-Star in that. I'll just put G-Star in bronze as well. There we go. So we're all in bronze position, apart from Tavikins, who still remains our queen at the top of the pile. And she's in quite a way in front as well. So she's running away with it this season. It's Stu Plum trying to catch her up in second place. And then the rest of us gaggle. The rest of the gaggle following on behind. So, yes. So what will you score this episode? What does people put in chat? Nobody's put anything.
Nobody's put any scores in chat.
So, okay, well, we'll give it our scores anyway.
Ready.
Have you got your paddle, Sean?
I do.
Tavikin's got her paddle. Okay. G-Star, what would you score this episode? You got to give it a score as well. Give it a score.
Ruth said 7.
7. Ruth's giving it a 7. Well, Ruth, here's our scores. 3, 2, 1. Boing.
Boing.
Look at that. 0. Oh, 40. 7554.
7554.
Is that what you rated?
7, 5, 5, and 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
0.
Well, if Ash is a 0 and Ruth is a 7, I think that's a 4, is it? Oh, wait, no, G-Star's a 7 as well. So that's probably a 5, I would imagine.
That's 0's harsh, Ash. That's harsh. It's a harsh score.
Gosh, I don't think I've ever seen a 0 before.
No, crikey.
No, that's fine. 7 to 0, a 7.253, a 6, and a 5 from Stu Plum. That
And
puts
it's double 0.
Double. Debbie double do.
2 zeros. That puts us on divided by 6. Oh no, I just got rid of my formula.
Oh, it's ruined your maths, isn't it? It's
Right,
buggered your maths up.
4.2. So yeah, that's
4.2. 4. So the audience then eventually agrees with Tavikins with a 4. Which it makes it the lowest episode of the season, 3 episodes in.
Surprisingly so far.
I feel that might end up being the lowest score of the season. You never know.
Very possible, yeah.
I've been very consistent with my scoring so far. I've not wanted to deviate off the 7.
Mine's just gradually going down.
Yours is going down. Yeah. But we got relics next week, so we can see how we go with that. So, what did you guys think of the episode then? Why a 4, Tavikins?
You're muted.
You gotta unmute this.
Okay,
You're unmuted.
How much have you guys been drinking?
I'm telling you, one thing, you need to pay attention what you do.
Okay. I gave it a 4 because I thought it was another episode wholly based on victimizing a character, and it's done way too often. Secondly, the transitions and the storyline was a bit messy. One of the things I was annoyed with was this 30-minute countdown to death for no reason. They just put this imaginary clock on the board when they have all these other technologies that keep you alive for way longer than that, and they could have put her in stasis. So that whole kerfuffle was just made up shit. And then,
well, they did say he had to believe she was dead and lose the connection, so they had to kill her.
I mean, like they could have killed her and then put her in stasis.
Yeah, as soon as he left the room, I guess they could have.
Yeah, they're saying there's a psychic link, so he was kind of tuned into her, so that he would have known. That was kind of what they were getting at.
And then secondly, I was like, did they think about distance or whatever? And the other thing that was dumb was like a plot inject of nobody knows how people generally behave. And by this season, everyone on the crew, especially senior staff, and Riker of all people, should have been able to go, what the fuck is wrong with you? and then like figure some stuff out. Like, I mean, they let this woman come on board who's ailing mentally for some reason, and she gets no checkup, no nothing, and they don't pay any attention to that. And I was like, you brought someone on your ship who's medically ailing, and you didn't register that in any way with the chief medical officer when she's an elderly woman. I was like, come on now. The whole episode just annoyed me way too much, and it didn't make up for it in the next scenes. And of course, from a military point of view, you are not going to be bumping and grinding with a junior officer. And that's like, oh, whatever.
I love the way you're being so serious in your review, Tabby, but you've basically got a comedy mind going on behind you.
I love the bit where he panicked because his beard ran out, and Panko rushed a replacement beard to him, and he was really ecstatic. That was my favorite part.
This episode, from what I heard, this episode was actually a rushed one because they were meaning to do relics. And for some reason, the guy who played Scotty wasn't able to match that schedule, so they had to come up with another episode on the fly, and that each scene was written by a different writer, and that they had to put it together and kind of glue it in. But I'm hoping, for me, if that is the case, then the episode is safe for me. But this one is like, it's a 5 is when I'm like, it's okay. But this is like, no, I'm never going to watch this again. If I had to go through the entire like viewing of this episode, I would hop over this and be like, no, thank you. It didn't have any character growth. And then in a minute, it technically a character regression because suddenly Riker's dumb.
So Ruth agrees with your 30-minute thing. She said, yeah, that annoys her. It seems really arbitrary. G-Star says that he hates the guy so much that it evokes a reaction in him. So therefore, he gives it a decent score because it makes him feel something. So, yeah. And Wookie says, I believe Extreme Panko is wearing a Bay City Rollers t-shirt. It's good to see this legendary band is still running strong, even with the youngsters.
It's Motley Crue.
It's just old as cheap.
Oh, Motley Crue.
Motley Crue. Yeah.
Excellent.
Get your titties closer to the cam.
You used to love Motley Crue.
Yeah, we did. Didn't we?
It's not the camera quality. The shirt is so old that the panty bits have fallen off and it looks pixelated.
That's great, though. It just makes it vintage, right?
I'm not quite sure how you got Motley Crue and Bay City Rollers mixed up, but there you go. I kind of with G-Star in that one part about this, in that the fact that he's doing this to Troi, and that does evoke a negative emotion from me. I get annoyed at this episode and kind of yell at the screen. So that kind of, I feel, is a good thing because it means at least I care about it. It doesn't make me just feel meh. Maybe in a wrong way, but it's still.
I think Marina Sirtis was quite good in it as well.
Yeah, and it's at least it is an episode about her, and she gets to act out emotions and things in a kind of different way, and gets the spotlight. So that's good. It did annoy me a bit of what like what Tavikins was saying a minute ago, when they. You know, she launches herself into the transporter room with a knife, looking like an old lady, which suggests she's contracted something from the mother, or or something bad's going on board this ship, and yet Picard decides to beam them down to the planet anyway, even though they could be infected with something and be spreading it to the planet. That makes no sense whatsoever. If you've got something like that going on board the ship at the time, why would you then beam someone down to another planet? That really didn't make much sense to me. But I didn't really mind. Night,
It could have been a diplomatic choice, because if you introduce a major disease, it might cause the cooperation of the two people. Like they did for us in the pandemic.
Oh, brought the world together, yeah, and harmony, yeah. That kind of worked. Not. But aside from that, I didn't really mind about the arbitrary 30-minute thing. When in all these series, whenever they kill off someone for this kind of reason, there always has to be a sort of time limit on it to give it some jeopardy, doesn't it? They can't just leave them dead forever and bring them back. There needs to be some kind of, like, oh my God, they better get on with this quickly kind of thing. So Tommy has moved him out of shot. So yeah, whatever, 30 minutes. She could have said anything. She could have said 15 minutes or whatever. I don't think that really matters, to be honest. But yeah, the world failed miserably to work together to share a problem. Yeah, it kind of did, didn't it? Yeah, it kind of did. So what does Ash and Panko think about this episode then? Apart from the zero, why zero?
It's
You have to justify your.
I have to justify why I think it's zero. I think it's zero because it's no good. It's not like a chicken fried rice. It's a terrible. Okay, it's like a real bad kind of cabbage.
Shitty quality cabbage. I would
Shitty
never
quality
use
cabbage.
for anything.
The episode's like bad cabbage.
Hey,
That explains it.
picked up on it.
Say again.
Is a zero because it's like bad cabbage? I think that's what I got.
Cabbage. It's a
Yes.
cabbage. No good.
No good. Yes. Cool. So next week we've got relics.
We do. No need to give a précis of what that one's about.
No, I think
Dyson Sphere.
A Dyson Sphere. Yeah. I'm quite looking forward to that episode. It's kind of one of those episodes in the series, isn't it? Which, because of the content, it's, has nostalgia factor to it. If you're an old bastard like myself, anyway. Sean doesn't give a monkeys because he like the TOS, but yeah, it is a bit cringe in places, but yeah, there we go.
Very good.
Did we miss anything? Any points in chat? Did we miss anything?
Don't think so. Do you have anything to promote on the Monty Zone this month, or that's not coming up or anything, is it?
No, we missed the last Monty Zone, so the next one will be the end of July. Yeah, because of everything that's gone on with LJ, G's not been able to have the time. Yeah. So yeah, we'll just pick it up again at the end of July. With the next
Tavikins,
one.
will you still be in Canada next week, or will you be back home? She's still muted. Maybe she can't hear me.
Tavi?
Never mind.
Tavikins. Are you going to be back home next week?
Excuse me, yes. Say again?
I said, are you going to still be in Canada next week, or are you going to be back home?
I'll be in Canada next week, yeah.
Yay! So we get to see those guys again. Nice.
Trudeau's new republic.
No.
Brilliant.
Trudeau's New Republic. And what have you got planned for the next week? Are you doing anything nice in Canada?
Sightseeing?
Going to visit some mounties?
So I want to go to one of the fruit orchards and the wineries and ask them a bunch of shotgun ask-me questions about how they're doing it, because I want to get some info for the farm, because I'm putting a mini orchard in my farm. And other than that, we're just relaxing and eating. That's what my vacations are centered around: food.
Food, glorious food.
Oh, like all dressed in.
Poutine it up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone again. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, have a lovely time in Canada, and she just keeps muting them. I think it's like, not allowing him to talk. No, I'm gonna mute you out. Poor Ash. Yeah. Anyway,
Matt Rams do club night.
I think that will do us for this evening. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the TNG review. Thank you to Mazza McBob, Tavikins Turner, Ash, Supreme Panko, and Chief Sean for joining us this evening. And thank you to everyone in live chat. Thank you to G-Star, Wookie. Thank you to Mr. Tavikins, Stuplum Ruth, Andrew, thank you for popping
Mickey.
by, even though he's at the pub. Thank you to Mickey, and yeah, we'll join you all next Wednesday at 8 o'clock for another episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And next week, maybe we can see Ash and Panko in uniforms, because look, they're in civvies. Look, it's just not on, is it? The Motley Crue T-shirt doesn't do it. But
maybe you can answer some questions and get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, get yourself on the scoreboard. Yeah, lay the side down. No, he doesn't like the idea of a uniform, I don't think. All right then.
I've taken their paddle away.
It's my paddle.
It's confiscated the paddle.
Brilliant.
All right. Thanks, Wookie, and thanks everyone. We'll see you next week at 8 o'clock UK time. Cheers.